Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic:
what can't you believe still exist in 2024? Companies that allow you to subscribe to a service online, but make you call them if you want to cancel. In California, if you created the auto-renewing subscription online, companies must allow you to cancel it exclusively online, no phone calls, mailing forms, etc. Closing parenthesis. Someone needs to tell Planet Fitness. Unstackable cans. Well, now that you've said it, I'm mad about it too. OMG, honestly, and why don't they all have a pull tab? I'd gladly pay an extra 10 cents per can for a damn pull tab. Edit. I actually just noticed I had an older can of Campbell's cream of onion soup with a pull tab, and the newer can I just bought does not have the pull tab. Fuck you. I invested in a can opener 20 years ago for $1 at the thrift store and have been making bank of that sweet 10-cent reduction. You don't get to tell me I have to pay 10 cents more per can instead of spending that on hooker and blow. Supermarket tabloids. Does anyone still actually purchase these things? You mean the best investigative reporting on the planet, according to Agent K from unnamed government organization? Elvis is not dead, he just went home. Supermarket tabloids. Does anyone still actually purchase these things? I worked at an industrial facility and someone used to bring in the weekly world news. The one with the Batboy and the alien that endorsed Ross Perot. One morning in the nearby residential area, a woman was jogging and a tree fell on. No one knew she was under there until the city came to remove the tree later that day. As the city workers were removing limbs, they found the woman's body. Apparently the trunk of the tree was rotten and the woman was wearing earphones and did not hear anything. The small community was rocked by the news and it was covered by the local newspaper. A few weeks later, Weekly World News had an article on this story and had all the correct details. We spent the next several years debating if every story in there was true. Did you see the alien met with the Pope? Someone would ask. Bar that is another made-up story, someone else would scoff. I don't know, remember they got the tree falling on the jogger story correct. The logical part of me knows all the stories are made up, but there is also a part of me that wonders if the Pope has the telephone number to Batboy and the alien. My guess would be that sometimes they have to pad out the paper with stories that either they buy from local newspapers or just steal, assuming that the local paper can't or won't sue. It certainly raises some interesting questions, though. MLM companies. I don't know how they still get people to join them, since a 10-second Google search will show you that they are all a scam. Every scam is built on volume. Of 1,000 people, 900 hang up right away, 90 hang on but don't fall for it, and 10 have some level of engagement but don't fall for it, and 5 probably lose their shirt, or a little bit of it. The math isn't mathing, but I agree with the sentiment. MLMs typically prey on either the poor and desperate, or the ignorant. There are so many people who won't look into something and just believe it outright. Also, they usually get roped in by friends and family, who likely also got roped in by people they trusted, who got roped in by the 1% of people who actually make a living. MLM boss babes are excellent marketers. I'm Instagram friends with former high school acquaintances who've joined MLMs, and their pages are filled with trips to exotic locations where they sit on a beach, eyes closed and seemingly at peace, with some inspirational quotation in the description, followed by how it was all possible because of the MLM they work for. It's very convincing to someone who's desperate. And there's a lot of desperate people these days. It's so predatory. Online forms that don't like apostrophes in names. As someone who has an Irish last name, it's super frustrating. Mafee, till RPHY is Gaelic for lady. Online forms that don't accept names less than 3 letters. LNG has entered the chat. It's not like Lee is an extremely common name or anything, lol. As a database programmer, choose some of these. People have exactly one canonical full name. People have exactly one full name which they go by. People have, at this point in time, exactly one canonical full name. People have, at this point in time, one full name which they go by. People have exactly n names, for any value of n. People's names fit within a certain defined amount of space. People's names do not change. People's names change, but only at a certain enumerated set of events. People's names are written in ASCII. People's names are written in any single character set. People's names are all mapped in Unicode code points. People's names are case sensitive. People's names are case insensitive. People's names sometimes have prefixes or suffixes, but you can safely ignore those. People's names do not contain numbers. People's names are not written in all caps. People's names are not written in all lowercase letters. People's names have an order to them. Picking any ordering scheme will automatically result in consistent ordering among all systems, as long as both use the same ordering scheme for the same name. People's first names and last names are, by necessity, different. People have last names, family names, or anything else which is shared by folks recognized as their relatives. People's names are globally unique. People's names are almost globally unique. Alright, but surely people's names are diverse enough such that no million people share the same name. My system will never have to deal with names from China, or Japan, or Korea, or Ireland, the United Kingdom, the United States, Spain, Mexico, Brazil, Peru, Russia, Sweden, Botswana, South Africa, Trinidad, Haiti, France, or the Klingon Empire, all of which have weird naming schemes in common use. That Klingon Empire thing was a joke, right? Confound your cultural relativism. People in my society, at least, agree on one commonly accepted standard for names. There exists an algorithm which transforms names and can be reversed losslessly. Yes, you can do it if your algorithm returns the input. You get a gold star. I can safely assume that this dictionary of bad words contains no people's names in it. People's names are assigned at birth. Okay, maybe not at birth, but at least pretty close to birth. Alright, within a year or so of birth. 5 years. You're kidding me, right? 2 different systems containing data about the same person will use the same name for that person. 2 different data entry operators, given a person's name, will by necessity enter bitwise equivalent strings on any single system, if the system is well designed. People whose names break my system are weird outliers. They should have had solid, acceptable names, like Tianjung Tai Lung. People have names. Great example of how much goes into, can you just make a button that does this? Quote. Flat earthers. If anything, there's been a weird resurgence in flat earthers. Probably largely because the internet allows them to connect worldwide and get others in on their weird conspiracy theories. Apparently some straight up don't believe in space, which is even more mind-boggling to me than the notion that Earth is flat. I actually think it's an increasingly tempting belief for people from an emotional angle, because it matches emotionally with what they're actually experiencing. They're furious about being lied to. It's true that they are being lied to. They've just got it wrong who is lying to them, about what, and why. Probably in many cases because they can't grapple with the fact that the people they trust and rely on are actually lying to and using them. That's a pretty tough pill to swallow. So they project those motives and emotions onto a target they're more emotionally comfortable with. The they who are lying gets projected onto those who are safer to vilify. And then you get this great community who congratulates you on knowing the truth, and you don't have to face the awful reality of the situation. Daily sex questions on AskReddit. Hey AskReddit, I was just sexing it up with my super hot girlfriend and I was wondering, what's the sexiest sex you've ever sexed? On top of all the sex questions, I'm seeing more and more of the same types of questions like, what do you hate, dislike as you get older, or, what is legal that feels illegal? And also, what can't you believe still exists in 2024? Usually bots reposting crap. Phone books. Only just. I received a new phone book a few weeks ago, the first one in 2 years, with a note saying that this will be the last ever phone book published by the phone company. Opening parenthesis. Keep it safe. Can be valuable in future. Slavery. Modern slavery is insane. The new John Oliver informed me IT guys are getting trafficked. Like WTF. I've been noticing a lot of learn to code in Far Eastern Paradise ads recently. More slaves alive today than in any other point in history. While technically true, there are also more people alive today than any other point in history. Infectious diseases for which we have highly effective vaccines. I heard 2 or 3 years ago about an American family whose kids got measles. Measles in 2020s while every kid is supposed to be vaccinated before 3 years old. Measles should be ancient history, in rich countries. See the current outbreak of 10 children in Florida. Scam emails and spam risk calls. Fun fact about the scam mails, they are deliberately written with many typos to weed out the smart people, who they can't get any money from in the first place. So what you are saying is that smart people should try and waste more of their fucking time. Yes, I'd love to help you, Mr. Nigerian Prince, but what's an Amazon gift card? Fringe cults and for-profit megachurches. I can definitely see both of those still existing forever. Fringe cult membership gives you a sense of, only me and my friends know the real truth, superiority, and for-profit megachurches are a good way to buy yourself a jet. Changing the clocks twice a year. And every year I hear it's going away but never does. Me, I cannot believe I'm still breathing. The horrors persist and so do we. People going to jail for weed. People in jail for weed in locations where it's now decriminalized. For a period of time in Canada you could be arrested for weed after the bill to legalize it had passed. After the bill passed, it was a year before it was implemented. This gave time to get supply and set up a distribution plan. Weed was still technically illegal during this year. The government kept saying it's illegal until it's legal. They demonstrated that the law was stupid, intending to punish people, not because it benefited society. $7.25 federal minimum wage. $2.13 federal minimum tip wage, the same as it was in 1992 when I retired from my tip job. And I know that the employer is supposed to make up the difference, but a lot of them don't. And when you're making $2.13 per hour, it never crosses your mind to hire a lawyer to sue. Heck, you don't even want to rock the boat because you probably need that job. Tipping culture just needs to die already. I'm doing my part by never going to restaurants. Homeless elderly people. No one at all should be homeless, but it must be especially rough when you're older. I know somebody who ended up homeless at 97. He actually got lucky. Some people in the system managed to keep him safe until they could find him a spot in a nursing home. It's actually one of the nicest in the city. He gets a reduced rate his pension covers, regular cost is about 3x his pension. They kept him safe by putting him in the psych ward for 3 months, but way better than a shelter. I was going to reply with add disabled people to that, but then realized that is probably the mass majority of homeless people if you are the type of person to include mental health as a disability, which I very much do. Edit, just want to add, since it is not 100% clear, my comment is saying that a significant portion of the homeless population is disabled whether physically or otherwise. I am definitely not saying that they deserve or should be homeless. I believe very strongly in the prevention of homelessness via stronger and very well-funded social programs as well as better supports, etc. To getting all people off the streets regardless of how or why they are there, with zero people left behind, but especially those who are part of marginalized groups.